Man, that was an exciting finish to a basketball game. The Cleveland Cavaliers lose to the Miami Heat by a final score of 140 to 138. Thanks everybody for jumping in and hanging out with us post game here on the Cleveland Cavaliers Roundtable YouTube channel, the Cleveland Cavaliers Roundtable pages. Spin, ton to get to. That was off the charts.
Off the charts. You're not kidding, man. I feel like I watched 4 games in one. It just took forever for the game to go all the way to the point it got to anyhow, before it even got to overtime. And then you just had bodies hitting the floor. You had some amazing individual performances. We obviously, unfortunately, have a Darius Garland injury to get to as well. But just so many individual moments and just things that happened throughout this game that I don't think you could all cover them in one post-game show. But it was insanity, man. Like, and if you're a Cavs fan, obviously you're going to be a little bit mad about the finish to this one, the way it ended. Nikola Jovic finding Andrew Wiggins with 0.4 seconds on the clock on an inbound pass for an alley-oop to end it. But I think from this, you look at how much energy was exerted on each end. It wasn't for a lack of effort, and it wasn't for a lack of trying. I think at that point, everyone was just exhausted, and they just completely forgot to make sure everyone was matched up on that last play. And I mean, even you look at before that when, Norman Powell got to the free throw line because Jalen Tyson grabbed onto him before the ball even got inbounded. There were so many different instances where, yes, there were some brain farts, but you watch that game and you see the kind of pace that was being played. This was just insane. It reminded me of the Bulls game from last year a little bit, but in just all 4 quarters. It was up and down, and I don't even recognize this version of the Miami Heat. I'm not going to lie. You're so used to seeing them slow down and play half court. They are completely changing their identity, and it's really reflective of what the Cavs do. The shot difference and attempt-wise is insane. The free throw discrepancy is definitely something you have to look at, but the Cavs had to make the free throws, and they didn't. But again, there's a lot to get to here, man. And again, I know everyone's going to be upset in the moment right here, but I thought it was a really fun game. I enjoyed it as a basketball fan, and whatever you want to get to, we can get to.
that was the one takeaway that I had, and we'll jump in right now. Reminder here, we got a good crowd jumping in, so get in that comment section. Let us know what you think. We'll pull your stuff up on the show here and talk about it. But Spin, let's start there at the end, because that's what's on everybody's minds right now. That sequence, I texted my buddies, Donovan Mitchell, that was like play of the year type stuff. Like, you gets the rebound, one dribble, 2 long strides into the corner. The corner, you got like 2 feet of room, pivot, sets his feet, throws one off the moon, and it drops right in and for a bucket. And you're like, oh my gosh. Like, just in general, like, that shot in a vacuum was incredible. And then you add in everything you just said, all the context of that game, end of overtime. He had played 41 minutes on the night, led all players of 41 minutes played, and he makes that play to at least give the Cavs a chance at that. That just, man, we say it every night. There's you kind of run out of superlatives to talk about Donovan Mitchell, but that was just another notch and just another spectacular play by him.
What did he end up with? Like 13 or 14 rebounds too? Like, it just
15 rebounds. Yep. Donnie, 28 points, 15 rebounds, 10 on the defensive side, 5 on the offensive side, 8 assists. He was doing it all.
He did. He really did do it all, man. And it's a shame that he had to make that shot, and then the way they lost it is just like, but you got to pay attention to the details at the end of the game. But again, I'm going to go back to this. Those guys had to be exhausted. Both teams were exhausted, man.
Do you factor in, Spinny, do you factor in Kenny not being on the bench for that? Like, not to say, like, not like drumming up like a story, but do you factor in like, hey, they would have had a different cover had he been on the bench, or like, no, not really?
I don't think so. So. The players know what's up there. There's 0.4 on the clock. The only thing that Miami can get off is really something close to the basket. You got to just be more attentive there. That's really it.
To me, and I want to say something here, because I know, Oren, you're one of the OGs. You're with us all the time. This is not a typical Cleveland collapse. You're mixing us up with another franchise in town, but the Cavs don't typically do this find a way to lose type of a thing. But What I will say is this, Ben, like in that scenario, like I think this is a good like learning opportunity for them. They should have already known this, but like, hey, the only thing that he could have got off there was that. And like Evan Mobley's guarding Jaime Hawkins in the corner, and Hawkins is literally at the 3-point line. He can't physically get a 3-pointer off. And if he does and he makes it, okay, that's fine. But Evan, you're 19 feet tall. Stand at the bucket and don't let an attempt at the rim go. I mean, that's just kind of like that's like that basketball IQ stuff. I think that like you said, gets kind of lost in minute 60 of a game.
Yeah, no, and I wouldn't even just like say Evan too. Like Jalen Tyson had some handsy stuff going on there at the end, and he was doing so well. Like I feel like he had 20 rebounds tonight. The way he was mixing it up in there, forcing jump balls all over the floor. That stuff happens. But again, on that last play, you just got to make sure. Especially because on the previous inbound play, they had Wiggins start out in the backcourt. So that they were going to try to get him some momentum going towards the basket. But hey, look, it's one possession out of an entire game. And yes, it's the one that determined it. But I cannot come away from this thinking, oh my gosh, there's so much that's wrong with the Cavs. I can't. It's just there was so much good in the box score. The way that they started out that fourth quarter, Sam Merrill hits 4 threes in like a minute. It was insane because he was having such an off night. I think he was 0 for 6 before that and just continues to trust the process, and it worked out. Sam got targeted quite a bit towards the end of the fourth quarter, not going to lie. Did get, driven past. And also some other comments I got too on Twitter that I wanted to address was like the Cavs, they weren't going to the paint enough. I thought they did that in the second half a lot better. But also, did you watch Jaime Hawkins defend tonight? Did you watch Davion Mitchell was not letting Donovan Mitchell breathe? Like these guys were locking up. So what more do you want them to do if they can't create advantages? You have to shoot because there's 24 seconds on the shot clock. You know who did take it upon himself though? DeAndre Hunter had a terrific fourth quarter. We haven't even gotten to Evan Mobley being the clutch player of the night probably, other than before Donovan hit that huge 3 over Khalil Ware. Evan had an amazing sequence where he got a bucket and then he hit a 3 to tie it. This was in the end of the fourth quarter. And then he got a block. Donovan Mitchell misses the 3 from the left side, the one we've seen him hit thousands of times, the way he does the little step back to the left and shoot. I'm okay with that shot there. I don't mind it. I get that people want to see him drive. But again, Davion Mitchell wasn't letting these guys by. Neither was Jaime Hawkins. Heck, Norman Powell defensively was fantastic tonight, and offensively, may we also talk about. There were a lot of good defensive possessions that Cleveland had at the end. Just because the ball goes in doesn't mean it was bad defense. Hawkins was on fire from that middle portion of the key. Norm Powell just had it going. You can fault like Sam Merrill getting beat on the perimeter quite a bit again in the fourth quarter. That was tough, but I think that they were okay. Hunter even got beat sometimes. But again, I just think the pace of the game, by the time the fourth quarter rolls around, you just got to be conditioned for it. I know Miami was a little bit better at that, but it was not like some blowout where they ran them out of the gym. No. The Cavs came back with a vengeance without their point guard, and they fought like hell to the end. And it was one of those games where both teams could have easily won that game.
And Spinny, I would also add too that this Heat team is on the ascent, right? The Cavs catch them in the first round last year, sweep them, and they talked about it on the broadcast. Not at nauseum, a little aggressive, but they talked about it on the broadcast about how like Spoelstra used that series to change his philosophy. And the Heat are playing with the fastest pace in the NBA. That's typically a group, and Spoelstra's typically a coach that slows the roll, slows it down, methodical, defend you in the half court, make you defend in the half court, but these guys are flying up and down the court, and this is a young bunch of players that's hungry, and that's. I mean, let's just tell the truth. Like the Heat are a fun team, and the Heat are going to be relevant, come the springtime. And so you look at this, and you're like, oh, they didn't lose to the Pacers right now, who are 1-7, or they didn't fall to the a bottom feeding team. Like the Heat are going to be pretty solid. An area, Spin, like I think we can dive into a little bit more. It goes to your thought about the tweet you got about the Cavs settling a little bit from 3. I think you look at 2 players, Sam Merrill and Donovan Mitchell combined were 7 of 32 from the field. Donnie was Not from three. Donnie was 3 of 16 from three, which was 18%, and Sammy was 4 of 16 from three, which is 25%. Okay, so like this is both sides of the coin here. Yes, hey, shoot it, and they were cold, but also, hey, Donovan shot 18% from the 3-point line, and you lost by 2 on a miracle, right? So it's like, all right, without Darius Garland, Jared Allen wasn't playing at the end, so it's like you have a horrible shooting performance, but you're still in it, and I think that's a testament to all the things you said about the toughness of this team.
It's the math game that Kenny likes to play. It's just typical of his teams. How many shot attempts did they have tonight? 120?
They finished 49 of 120 from the field.
Wow. 120 shots.
Did you just guess that?
I know it was 111 at the end of the
You're a nut. They had 120 shot attempts. They were 21 of 65 from three. They were 49 of 20 from the field. And on the flip side of things, this is the bad part because they shoot the ball 120 times, and the Heat were 46 of 98. They had nearly 30 more shots than the Heat, and the Heat were 12 of 36 from three. Really slowed it down. I'm going to let you talk here in a second, but definitely a change in philosophy. The Heat had 26 three-point attempts in the first half and finished the game with that extra stanza with just 36. So a very clear change in philosophy by the Heat coming out of the break.
Great observation, Megs. Yeah, they changed things up at half, and I think they wanted to get a little bit more in the paint. And like I said, that's when Jaquez really got going because he was just driving and then getting to that little fadeaway turnaround about 8 feet. He was money tonight. And again, like I said, he was defending his butt off, and the Cavs just could not get by him, which in turn leads to you settling because if you cannot get by your man, then you have to get a shot up. Yeah. And a lot of these too, like if you look at Sam's shots, I thought they were mostly good looks. I don't think Sam takes bad shots. No. And, like Donovan, yes, he can settle. He can get some pull-ups. I think Lonzo settles a lot right now for his three-point shot. But, like, they are this type of team. They want to get the most possessions possible. And they can do that when they have, 30-plus offensive rebounds tonight? Something stupid like that? Like
offensive rebounds, 26 offensive boards. So
exactly. So you're getting another chance because if they're attacking the glass, then what's it really hurting, right? Because you're still getting opportunities, and it's just their philosophy. I think Kenny would tell you right now that Miami maybe shot above expected or something like that. He always says that his press conferences or whatnot. I know you see 140 and think terrible defense, and they couldn't stop Jaquez, and obviously, what do you call it? Powell was tough. I thought that Davion had some nice possessions down the stretch where he made a nice floater over Tyson that was perfectly defended. Hunter, I think Hunter can be better defending drives. He's a little bit behind and gives up the baseline a little bit too much. But I think that for the most part they were in front. Khalil Ware is
okay. That's where we're gonna go. That's where we're gonna go.
Monster, man. Like, do you see how tall that guy is,
dude? So there's if there's one area and I tend to agree with you on all of it, right? Like there was real hoops being played tonight, back and forth, fun, up tempo, speed. The one area, man, is in the interior, right? Ware finished with 14 points and 20 rebounds. He had 20 rebounds, and the question I ask you is, what's your concern level? Jared Allen doesn't play, only notches 21 minutes, and finishes with 7 rebounds. Evan does finish with 10 rebounds, 8 of them on the offensive side, only 2 on the defensive side. Is there a concern level of hey, I know in the past I'm not going to say the S word, but there's an S word that floats around with those guys. But you get a guy in Ware who's that physically demanding, and he kind of has his way down low, and there's an area where you can point where there was a clear advantage to the Heat tonight.
Yeah, no, there was. I won't dispute that. Ware was all over the glass, and he was clearly motivated by last year because the playoffs he kind of disappeared, and he just was not. He was not in that series, and I think he took it upon himself to really come out tonight swinging, and that was one of those moments. Evan, again, I'm just going to go back to Evan. Just got to be stronger with the ball. A lot of the times, when you're tipping it out and stuff like that, just got to grab it, got to keep hold of it, keep it up. But where's the talent on the glass? We know that.
Yeah.
So I don't want to, gloss over that.
Mhm.
But I just think there was a little bit of extra juice with Khalil tonight. On that, how many offensive boards did he have?
He had 7 O boards and
Yep.
13. He had 7
Yep.
offensive boards and 13 defensive boards.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That makes
20.
sense.
That is a 20 is a that's a number that definitely jumps out at you. Comment section's bumping. Appreciate everybody jumping in here. Spuds, it's the beginning of the season. Y'all being weird in the comments. Can co-sign that. We need Darius healthy for the playoffs. That's a concern. That
Yeah.
because it's the toe again, and that one's that's a scary one, Spin.
It is. It is. I mean, he came up hobbling the first time. I think he got fouled by Jovic, and he ended up playing out the rest of the half, I believe it was. And then he was done after that. I don't know. Maybe he didn't play the rest of the half. I can't remember. Again, it felt like 4 games in one. But, he committed an intentional foul on someone to come out of the game. So maybe that was before halftime. And he went back to the locker room, and then he got ruled out with the left toe injury. He's being evaluated right now as we speak. I'm sure that Kenny Atkinson or Johnny Bryant, whoever's at the podium right now, because Kenny got tossed for the first time in his Cavs career, probably had to do with the 13 fouls the Cavs were called for in the third quarter. That second and third quarter, man, it got real choppy. Like I said, it was already a long game before it got to overtime. It was a real long game.
That boy Scott wants everyone to remember who called the game.
But yeah, just with DG, I mean, you just hope it's nothing serious, and hopefully it's more precautionary. You don't want that kind of feeling. Maybe you brought him back a little too early.
Yeah.
And hopefully this is just not like a super setback or something like that. So we'll see what happens with the diagnosis, when that information comes out. But I did want to address the second quarter problem the Cavs have. Mm-hmm. They, for some reason, I think someone tweeted at me, they're minus 46 in the second quarter this season so far. So that's something that there's a typical formula with the Cavs going on right now. They come out just guns blazing, right?
Guns.
They're out and off to these huge runs, like 8-0 the other night against Chicago. Tonight, they're off to a 15-5 start, and things are flowing. Jared Allen's playing great out of the gate, getting the guys touches. DeAndre Hunter opened up with another shot. It was a 3-pointer in the corner. And they get off to these good starts, and then the teams come back. It's a game of runs. We know that, but second quarters, they're going to need a little bit more focus because they're having to not climb out of holes, but they're having to regain the momentums that they've set the tone for. And it's always good when you set the tone. It's always good when you set the tone. It really is hard to play for 48 minutes in the NBA, especially at a pace like that.
Spin, you make a good point though, because it's almost the momentum shift, right? Momentum, you can't measure it. You can't put a number on momentum. But what you can say is that, when the Cavs come out and build a 10-point lead or whatever it may be, and the Heat get like a double boost of momentum when you not only cut that lead, but then you take it over. In that second quarter, you saw exactly it. The Heat win the second quarter 37-23. That's a 14-point difference. And there was a stretch in there. I don't quote me on this, but there was like a 17-0 run that flipped a 8-point Cavs lead to a 9-point Heat lead, and you're like, what the hell? Like, how did this happen? Where did it go wrong? And for on the Heat side, you start to feel like that you're shooting a golf ball into an ocean, right? Like that's what it starts to feel. And then on the Cavs side of things, that hoop starts to really shrink, and you could see them maybe not so much in the second quarter, but definitely towards the end of the game, they get like when stuff starts going wrong, they get super ISO heavy and then just kind of rely on Donovan to just like dribble, make a shot. And like when they're really rolling, they have good flow, good continuity in the offense. When they start to get stuff starts to get a little hard, they get super ISO heavy, and then their problems compound on each other.
It's a real good point. I think they do get ISO heavy at the end of those situations, but I will say, towards like the end of the fourth quarter, they were moving it around. That stuff that happened, getting at the ball to Evan Mobley, hits the 3. DeAndre Hunter, getting him in screen and rolls. He's bringing the ball up. He's handling. I'm actually okay with DeAndre Hunter ISOs right now. It seems like he's really finding his footing as a ball handler, and even in the PNR. But With Donovan, yes, he does have those moments where he's not freezing everyone out, but he feels like he has to put the team on his back, which
Yeah,
is
and I would say
understandable. Especially
yeah,
when he has a moment at the end of overtime the way he
right.
did. So like, where are you to fault him? Like he
No.
misses a shot. Like it's
And I almost would go the other way, Spin, because I almost think like less of Don trying to like make to stop all the issues and more of the rest of the four on the court just like pointing at him like, hey, leader, can you solve this problem? And like just standing there, like that's kind of the vibe I get where it's like, it's not Don saying, hey, I got this. It's more of like everyone's like, Don, get us, and I do think that they get, not always, but they get into that at a couple, here and there. But Spin, let's talk about DeAndre because he's playing, I think he's like coming into his own, right? Like he's been here almost a year now and he's starting to understand his role. And tonight he was playing like with supreme confidence, and just attacking and making a bunch of plays. And they were relying on him late to keep them in that basketball game.
Yeah, he's the Cleveland small forward that everyone forgot about, right?
Yeah.
6'8" guy, pretty big. I thought that towards the end and that
Tough
fourth
on
quarter, he
defense,
was
too, man.
terrific. Defense was great. He attacked Khalil Ware, got a nice little floater over him, and drew a foul. Getting to that mid range, I love that mid range shot of his. I don't want him to get 2-3 happy, but you do want him taking threes because he is proving to be solid at that too.
Mm-hmm.
But again, like the dribble game, the off the dribble game is what's impressing me with him so far. Like he's really put in work over the summer on that and been able to create his own. And a lot of that stuff in the fourth quarter, the Cavs aren't in that game if he doesn't answer a lot of what the Heat did. So I'm very happy to see Hunter just taking his game to a different level and expanding it a little bit more. And yeah, that's a great sign for Cleveland. I like seeing him handle the ball. I didn't know I would, but
Yeah.
it's cool. It's different. And they have the trust in him to not just be, this 3-and-D guy. This is a guy that we can't forget was leading the 6th Man of the Year race candidacy last year, along with Ty Jerome. But he is absolutely capable of dropping 30 on any night if he wants to. So
No
that's the kind of scoring talent that the Cavs have on the floor at all times, which is why it's hard for everyone to maintain their statistics throughout the season because they have so many dang people that can score the basketball. So it's like someone will go through, they'll say, all right, 20, 20, 20. Oh, why did this person have 12? Well, watch the game. And that even goes for like Evan Mobley too, because Evan Mobley was quiet until the fourth quarter. That was good to see Evan come through in that moment and to play as confident as he did, to have that rejection after he hit the 3, and then getting that ball and one on the other end too. So I liked a lot of what I saw on the offensive end, especially because things do get, the word they use is clunky when Darius Garland is not out there. So I did like that, and they were putting pressure on the rim. But it was just tough at the end because I'm going to go back to the point that was started with, just like Jaquez and Mitchell. And I feel terrible for glossing over him, but Andrew Wiggins, they were all so good defensively and staying in front that they couldn't get anywhere. It wasn't bad spacing. It wasn't because they were trying to be selfish. It was because the Heat were they were so pressure heavy. And they really wanted to win this game, and the Cavs did too. But it just didn't turn out that way.
The Heat are going to be a factor coming late in the year. There's another guy in the Heat that I texted you about in the first half, Fontecchio, dude off the bench. I practiced it all night, and I knew I had to at least drop it one time. Because I think
he was a part of that 17-0 run you were talking about earlier. He was a part of it. Jovic hit some shots. Fontecchio, dude, he was a part of the Pistons last year after he got traded from Utah, and he just kind of got like in and out of the lineup, and then he got dealt over to Miami. I think that Fontecchio, he's like 6'8", 6'9", a lot of like size player on this Heat team, by the way.
Yes.
But he's somebody that can really light it up if you're not careful. And the Heat, like you said, in the first half, they were getting their shots off. They were shooting 3 after 3 after 3, just like not letting the Cavs breathe at all. Whenever they missed a 3, Heat would go down and take a shot within like the first 3 or 4 seconds of the shot clock, which is why they were getting tired out. And then that's all that was happening. They probably couldn't continue to have that pace in the second half. So that's why they started getting a little bit more half court oriented, getting into the paint, and drawing fouls. And we haven't really gotten to that too, by the way. Like the foul discrepancy was there. So I don't, we're not going to make excuses here. The Cavs do have to take advantage when they're at the line, by the way, because they just leave way too many points at the line for sure. Tyson had a chance at the end too. Split a pair, and it ended up being a 2-point game instead of a 3-point game. And then the Heat tied it up when Jaquez went in there and got that shot to go. So, there's so many what ifs in here, but like the margins are where you got to really stick it to you. So that's really where it is. It's not these like glossing issues. It's literally the devil is in the details, is how they always say it, right?
There you go. Cavs shoot 19 of 27 from the line. That's 70%. The Heat were 36 of 41. So a little bit of an unbalance there, and also too, just like
I'm sure Kenny has something to say about that.
Yeah, I'm sure. But also too, you make your free throws, you win the basketball game. Spin, you were talking about it earlier. The Cavs offense super well balanced. 6 guys in double figures. 9 players with 9 or more points. Donnie led the way with 28. The guys with 9 points were Dean Wade, Lonzo, and Jalen Tyson. Now, a question I have for you, trivia question. 5 guys played over 30 minutes. I'll give you the first 3. Donnie was over 30 minutes. Evan was over 30 minutes. DeAndre Hunter was over 30 minutes. Can you name the other 2?
Sam Merrill.
Yep.
Okay. And let's see who else was on the court. Ooh, was it Dean?
Jalen Tyson. Let's talk Jalen Tyson.
JT, okay.
JT plays 31 minutes, has 9 points, 9 rebounds, 3 steals, 1 block. He was 3 of 10. He was shooting it aggressively, 2 of 6 from 3. Confidence is just oozing out of this dude's skin. He's playing really good and tough basketball.
Most definitely. And again, some brain fart plays down the stretch that you got to get better at. And that's going to happen with a second-year guy who's only in his 11th game. Like it's the positives far outweigh the negatives with Jalen Tyson. Like I said, this is a guy that's in there forcing jump balls. He's getting in there mixing it up with Ware and with Jovic and all the bigs trying to get rebounds. This guy is keeping possessions alive and getting steals when the other team just gets a steal, it's those types of plays. And even down the stretch, getting an offensive rebound and kicking it out to Mitchell, getting an offensive rebound and missing a putback, but then Evan Mobley, gets the flush with his right hand, that's keeping it alive. That's winning basketball. Defensively, again, he's got to tone down on the fouls a little bit, but most of them I'm okay with. The one that you're not okay with is when he's holding Norm Powell on an inbound before the ball even gets in. And then that leads to the one free throw in the ball for the Heat. Luckily, Norm missed it, and the Cavs were able to come down and tie it before and get it in overtime. So
ball don't lie, Spin. That's it. That's a rule I live by. He slipped. That's what I'm going with.
And he had a jump ball too. He had a jump ball against Davies and Mitchell, tapped it back to Evan Mobley. It was sometime in overtime. So like these plays are not little. They are little because they don't show up in the box score, but they're not little. And he's diving on the floor, and like there's so many times I'm just laughing because it looks like he's playing a game of rugby. They're getting down on the floor to get that ball away from someone, or just even there was one possession where he was diving on the floor and they didn't call a kickball, but he ended up kicking the ball back to his teammate, and they ended up getting a jump ball out of that he didn't even jump for. So like it's so many little things that JT's doing right now, and he's earning every bit of the run that he's getting.
Yeah, there's no question. And we talk about it, on some of our other platforms when you're talking about football games where there's always, you don't know where the play is going to be, right? There's 4 or 5 plays that determine the outcome of the game. It could happen in the first quarter, could happen in the fourth quarter, but it's the same thing applies on the basketball court. The plays just happen much faster, right? And you never know. And it's guys like Jalen Tyson who those guys are on the margins, right? He makes those little plays that, hey, maybe he dives on a ball in the second quarter and steals a possession, or maybe in the third quarter he gets a sweet rebound or defends somebody. And it's like, yes, that started a run, or yes, that stopped a run. And it's guys like that that you lean on here, Spin. So did this guy come from your group chat, Spin?
He might have.
Yeah, is that one of your boys? Is that one of your boys saying the Cavs suck? I'm here to say PSA, the Cavs do not suck. They're 7-4, and honestly, they started last year 15-0, and there's a little bit of fool's gold there. But this year, You're learning on the fly. You're losing in the losses you have. There's very teachable, coachable moments, and tonight was one of them. And they're going to be better from this loss tonight. There is zero questions about it.
Yep, and they're if they drop the one on Wednesday, I can't wait to see the comment section too, because they play the Heat again.
All right, Coach Spin, I have a question for you. You flying the boys back home to Cleveland and then flying them back down on Tuesday? I'm getting their ass.
Hey, listen, you can't. Hey, I don't think there'll be any South Beach flu on this one. I do think that it's going to be a lower scoring game for both teams, though, because they're coming off of an overtime 140 to 138 game in which they just ran a track meet. Yeah. And as I said earlier, played 4 games and won essentially.
So much fun tonight, and this is going to have a playoff feel to it. It's 7:30 on Wednesday night. They get the day off tomorrow, and then they are back inside of. It's not even American Airlines Center. Help me out,
Kaseya
Center. Kaseya Center for the second tip in this 1 week matchup here. Spin, plug your shows this week. I don't know you're in Germ's schedule. You guys got a pod going tomorrow?
We got a pod coming up some point this week.
Some point.
That's all I can tell you.
That's
hey, listen, Spence is still on the purple train coming back.
This guy said, "I'm out tonight due to exhaustion." Dude, come on. What are we? You had to ride a couple trains, take a couple flights, getting a couple Ubers, bro.
Exhaustion from the other franchise down the road. How about that?
Yeah, that's a whole other story here.
I'm wearing their colors.
Yeah, that's a good reminder though. Make sure you're subscribed here to the YouTube channel. If you're catching us on Twitter, make sure you're following us along. Everybody, this is a PSA to everybody. Get over to the site. Get over to roundtable.com. Roundtable's hitting right below me right now. Roundtable.io/sports/NBA/Cavaliers. Spinny is rolling over there on the site. The rest of the team is getting you filled with great content over there. You can interact directly with us, so it's a really fun platform for us to learn and to interact with you guys. So make sure you're jumping over there. Spin, any final thoughts before we shut it down?
No, sir. I think we wrapped it up pretty well today.
Beauty. All right, we're getting out of here on that. Cavs fall to the Miami Heat by a final score of 140 to 138. Spin and Germ will be back at some point this week with another courtside on the courtside with the Cavs episode, and then we'll be back post game on Wednesday night after the Cavs and Heat square off again down in South Beach. Thanks everybody for hanging out with us. We'll be back again soon here on the Cleveland Cavaliers Roundtable.